Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to fix a original Xbox that has no video or audio output, and the disk drive won't open up either. So I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. So everything boots up, but as you can see we've got no video, we've got no audio, and then when I click the disk tray it blinks like it's going to open, but then nothing happens. So we're going to go ahead and take this apart and I'll show you exactly how to fix this. Okay, first off we want to get into the console and we need to use a T20 screwdriver. And then you've got these 6 screws. 2 of them are below these security stickers, so go ahead and take those out. Okay, once you get all 6 out, flip the console over and then just kind of shimmy it. And then we can go ahead and set the lid to the side. Okay, next what you want to do is, I like to disconnect this big old ribbon cable from the hard drive. Get it out of the way. And then the easiest way for me to do this one is just take some needle nose, get around this cable, just wiggle it until it comes out. Then you take the braided wire, pull it out from these slots, and then it's hooked down here. I'm just going to leave it for now until I can get this out. So you've got 3 more screws here holding this in. So we're going to be swapping over to a T10 screwdriver. You've got 2 here on both sides of the disk drive, and then 1 here in between both the disk drive and the hard drive holding it down. So we're going to pull this one out, and then your hard drive can slide right out. So I get these wires out from that locking. So make sure that if you're working on multiple consoles at once, don't get these hard drives mixed up because they are married to the motherboard. So I'm going to go ahead and set this one aside. Now you've got 2 more screws. Zoom out of here. 2 more screws on both sides of here. Once again, these are T10s. Okay, and now the disk drive can come out, but you do have 2 cables in here. You got the ribbon cable, the data cable, and then you got the power cable too, which is this yellow one. Just wiggle those and it should come right out. Okay, after that, you should be able to just lift the drive straight up with the housing. The entire housing comes out. Once that's out, set that aside. I'm going to remove these cables out. Let's get this big old ribbon cable out of here. Get that cable out, and then the power cable. Okay, now we are down to here. This is actually a 1.0 motherboard. So usually it's these caps that are bad. I'm not seeing any that are bulged. So what I'm going to do is go through and test these caps and make sure that they are all working. But in order to do that, we got to get the motherboard out. So we need to disconnect here, controller cable, and then we are going to see if we can get this power supply out. So you just go ahead and pull it out. So 1.0 is the first one they made, the first edition, and it has the fan on top of the GPU with only 1 row of pins. And then the 1.1 is they got rid of the fan and they still have this 1 row of pins. So that's how you can tell if that's that generation or not, or that model or not. Okay, we got it out. We're going to go ahead and set this aside because we don't really need to do anything with this other than I need to clean the fan and probably dust off the power supply pretty good. So, okay, now we are down to the motherboard. I'm gonna take this fan off actually really quick. Is off. What I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to go dust off this motherboard, and then I will come back and we can further inspect. Okay, I've got my ESR meter, got the board cleaned, and we're gonna go through and test some caps. So we have good cap with low ESR, good if less than 1,000, good if less than 470. Okay, on to the ones that I think are the culprits. This is good. Okay, well, all my caps checked fine, but that doesn't mean that that's what it is. Okay, so the ESR meter measured out good on all these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull one of these out. I'm going to test it with a voltmeter just to double check, because I still think that these are our issues. So we're going to do that real quick. And then I also want to swap the thermal pastes. But everything else upon inspection looks fine. I am going to change out this clock cap too. Alright, I'm going to be using our tweezers that we have. Soldering tweezers, and we're going to start by adding a little flux and taking this clock cap off. Always add flux. Just like that. Pulls right out. This thing was leaking, so get that puppy out. One thing I like to do so I don't get confused is I like to, whatever caps I pull out, as long as they're different, if they're the same then it doesn't really matter, but caps that I pull out I like to replace right away so I don't get confused on which ones I just pulled out, because there's a lot of capacitors with a lot of different values. Okay, let's inspect the other side. Okay, here you can see the clock cap, and it's got a little bit of yellow on there. Looks like it leaked a little bit. Okay, now we're going to take our clock capacitor and bend the leg straight. Make sure that we stick it in the correct way. Push it all the way down. And then I like to bend the legs to kind of hold it in place. Once again, add flux. Flux is your best friend. And then what I like to do is I like to take my soldering iron and I like to just add a little bit of solder to the tip of it. And then I just touch down here by the points. And it solders it pretty good. You don't need a ton of solder, so and that's all there is to it. Snip the ends. That is it. Your clock capacitor is replaced. Okay, now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to remove one of these big gray ones, and I'm going to test it and make sure that that it is either working or dead. Okay, while I'm waiting for these caps to show up, I'm going to swap the thermal paste, and then I'm going to take this drive apart, give it a deep clean, clean the lens, lube up and grease all the rails, and I'll show you guys how to do that as well.
Pack of 20 for $7.49, or a pack of 10 for $5.
Well, I'm replacing 5.
Oh, here's here it is.
The thermal paste, the old thermal paste is kind of on there tough sometimes, so I just take my heat gun, warm it up. It gets freaking hot, so do not touch it. And then after I heat it up and get that thermal paste a little liquidy, I'll just take a pair of pliers. Yep, see how it's moving? It's getting liquidy because this sucker is getting hot. Okay, got that off. Don't burn yourself, don't drop it. Boom, you're done. Okay, I'm going to be using some goof off to get the thermal paste off because it is like glue. I mean, this stuff is old. This is like, I don't know, it's just on there pretty tough. So we're gonna use some goof off. Okay, I got the replacement caps here. Got 5 of them that I got to put in there. And then we'll get this whole thing put back together and see if that fixed it. See if we just had a few bad capacitors. They're 1500 microfarad and 10 volt. Okay, I've got all of them in here. It's really hard to see. So I put them all in, and I'm just going to go through and solder all of them. Once again, what I like to do is I like to get just a little bit on my iron, tip of my iron, and let's come down here and solder the legs. So you don't need a lot of solder for these. These ones I'm going to snip though because I can't get to the other ones behind it. Okay, there we go. We got all 5 swapped out. Now what I'm going to do is put this all back together, put it back in the case, and then see if it works. At this point, we figured out that the Xbox was in a coma state, is what it's called. So I'm going to link in the description the website that I found that shows where you need to connect to what capacitor and what other solder joints on the Xbox. So I'll link that in the description below. Okay, so we have the board that didn't have any video or audio that I ended up swapping caps. And then that didn't work. I did some more research and figured out that your Xboxes can be in what's called a coma state. So in order to get it to boot up, you can run a jumper wire on this edge of the board. You're going from this ground on the backside of is that a capacitor? Capacitor. You're going to the ground on the backside of this capacitor to one of these solder joints, one of these solder holes. And at first I had gone to the wrong one. I had gone to the one just below where it actually is supposed to be. I think there's a few different spots that you can test running the wire to, but as you can see, we swapped it to that one just where the bend is. We're going to try that and see if our console boots up now.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. There it is. From no video and no audio to booting up. So it was just in a coma state, and there's lots of stuff online. You can watch this video, obviously, show you how to do it. So just remember, there's a couple different spots you can run your wires to, and if it doesn't work the first time, try another one. I think there's 3 or 4 different spots you can hook them to. So